Ahoy, you tube. There's gonna be some wordplay today. I hope you got your noses strapped on. A few days ago, I put out a tweet where I gave some facts about words that sound the same, but have different meanings, like blue and blue. Blue the color and blue the past tense of blow. A few people responded with, yeah, they're called homonyms. Fair enough, blue and blue are homonyms. Or are they? There's a reason I didn't call them homonyms, and that reason will be made clear in today's episode. Let's look at 3 ways 2 or more words can be similar. They can have the same meaning, they can be spelled the same, or they can sound the same when spoken. If 2 words mean the same thing, but are pronounced differently and have different spellings, well then they're just synonyms. Synonyms. We've all heard of synonyms before. An example of synonyms would be buy and purchase. These 2 words have nearly the same meaning. I'll admit that they probably can have different connotations, like maybe buy is more casual and purchase is more fancy. Oh, you bought that, but I purchased it, because I'm an adult. Anywho, they have nearly the same meaning, so they are synonyms. For those of you out there who love little fun facts, it often comes up, is there a synonym for synonym? Not really, but there is a slightly outdated word that isn't used very often. It looks like a posynonym, but really this is pronounced p-synonym. P-synonym. It's a good spelling bee word because it doesn't, it's not spelled the way it sounds. P-synonym. And p-synonym means various names. Various names for the same thing, synonyms. P-synonym is a synonym for synonym. There you go, fun fact of the day. But we're not done. What if 2 or more words mean the same thing and are spelled the same, but aren't pronounced alike? Now, we don't really have a word for what those are called, but let's come up with some examples. The and the. They are 2 ways of pronouncing English's only definite article, so they mean the same thing. However, increasingly, in American English especially, the is being used for emphasis, which tentatively gives it a different meaning. So the and the might not be like a totally perfect example all the time. Sometimes just accent differences can matter, like how I might say about and a Canadian might say aboot, right? They're spelled the same and they mean the same thing, but they sound differently. Okay, what about things that mean the same thing and sound the same but are spelled differently? Well, these are just spelling variants. For instance, barbecue, spelled like bar-ba-q with a C, and barbecue spelled like this with a Q. Barbecue is not spelled like that, it's spelled with an E. This is just me, warts and all. You're welcome. Using a C or a Q doesn't affect the meaning or the sound of the word. It's just a spelling difference. There are 2 words that also fit into this category that I'm particularly fond of. Diarrhea and diarrhea. There's a fantastic mnemonic or acronym that you can use to remember how to spell diarrhea in the UK fashion. The mnemonic is dash in a real rush, hurry, or else accident, diarrhea. Now, because I'm in the US, we don't always use that O, so I just remember the mnemonic and then I erase the O. Diarrhea. Perfect. Diarrhea is a great example of what might fit into this intersection in our Venn diagram. Okay, now, let's look in the very middle of our Venn diagram. If 2 words are spelled the same, are pronounced the same, and have the same meaning, well, then they're just identical words. An example would be soup and soup. They both sound the same, spelled the same, and they refer to soup. Not so fun, so let's keep moving on. What we have left are these 2 circles where words either are spelled the same, they look the same written down, or they sound the same to the ear when spoken. So the differences are between the way they sound, phone, and the way they look, graph. Okay, so let's think about words that sound the same but have different meanings and are not spelled the same. Well, that would be something like what I tweeted, blue and blue. What distinguishes them is that they look, graph, different, hetero. So they are heterographs. Now what about words that sound different and mean different things but are spelled the same? Examples of these would be things like tear and tear. If you tear apart something I love, you might cause me to shed a tear. Another example is record and record. We can record what I'm doing right now. If we do so, what we will have made is a record of what I did. What distinguishes them is that they have different, hetero, sounds, phone. They are heterophones. Okay, so we have these two differences. Heterographs look different, heterophones sound different. In the middle of these two, we have words that look the same and sound the same, but have different meanings, like bank, bank, or skate, skate. A bank can either be where money is stored, or it can be the kind of sloping land near a river, the bank of a river. You wouldn't go get a loan from a riverbank, and you wouldn't go fish in a financial bank. Skate. Skate means to either like slide along, but it's also the name of a kind of flat fish. Those words have a very special name. If you want to be really precise, only words that fall within this part of the Venn diagram are homonyms. Same name. Because they sound the same and they're spelled the same. But we can go into even more detail because both of these homonyms, bank and bank, skate and skate, aren't equal. One is a true homonym and the other is polysemous. Yeah. Polysemous means many meanings. If two different meanings of a word share the same origin, like the mouth of a river and the mouth of a human, then they are polysemes. But if two words do not have a shared origin, but still sound and look alike, well then their homonymity is quite special. It's true. There are two other categories we can draw here. One involves words that are spelled the same, and that's going to not only include heterophones, but also homonyms. So I'm gonna draw an outline that includes heterophones and homonyms. Okay, now this little piece of the Venn diagram, these are words that look the same. They are what are called homographs. Oh my gosh, I'm running out of room. Homographs. Well, anyway, you get it. You guys are smart. Homographs. Notice that I'm not including words that have the same meaning. They're pretty much just variations of the same word and they don't get a special name. Homographs look the same. So bank, bank, skate, skate, tear, tear, record, record, they all look the same. But there's another category which also includes homonyms as well as heterographs. These words sound the same. So as you can probably imagine, they are called homophones. I don't know how well the silver shows up, but both heterographs and homonyms sound the same. They have the same sound. Skate, skate, blue, blue. Other examples of heterographs would be like two, two, and two. Now often when people talk about homonyms, what they're really talking about are homophones, and that's fine. Which definition of homonym you prefer to use or want to use at a given moment is totally up to you. I don't care. As long as it's clear what you mean, that's perfect. I'm a language descriptionist. I think language is how we use it. I don't want to prescribe rules of usage onto people. But finally, we should talk about VSAUCE. VSAUCE are words that have different meanings, are spelled differently, and sound different, but yet have something very special in common. They look the same on the lips. VSAUCE are words that are difficult to distinguish when lip reading because the way your mouth moves and the tongue and the inside of your mouth are similar. Some of my favorite examples are pet, bell, and men. In fact, we're gonna turn the audio off. I'm gonna say three of them in some order, and I want you to, in the comments below, tell me what order you think I said them in. There you go. All right, finally, if you wanna learn more, I got two videos to recommend that are down in the description. One is about the McGurk Effect. If you've never seen the McGurk Effect, which ties lip movements into sound and the audio illusion that emerges, you gotta check it out. Also, Tom7, who I've talked about in a VSAUCE 1 video in the past, has a great video out about a thing he's invented called anagraphs. Anagraphs are words that don't share letters, they share letter pieces. It's a fantastic video that's linked down below. Check that one out. While we're talking about nyms, names for words, I want to talk about some things that aren't going to show up on this chart. The opposite of a synonym is an antonym, words that have opposite meanings, like hot and cold. Boring, right? What I'm fascinated by are autoantonyms, a word that can also mean the opposite of one of its meanings. An example would be the word off. Off can both mean to activate and deactivate, as in my alarm went off, so I turned it off. Left is another good autoantonym. Left can mean gone, like he left, but left can also mean he didn't leave, he's left. There are also autoantonymic phrases like wind up. Wind up can mean get ready, like a wind up for a pitch, but it can also mean we gotta stop, we gotta wind up, we're out of time. And as always, thanks for watching.